Talk 11. The Spirit of God is personified in the Christ of God in you. My peace, my love I bring to you. It is the Christ that is the personal expression of the Almighty. This Christ dwells in you and in every living soul. This is your life, your consciousness. By it you live. By it you are made eternal. Through it you have salvation. This is the great cosmic consciousness, the inner illumination which will cover the whole earth. When this is understood by each and every one, so the whole earth will be transformed out of its state of ignorance through the realization of the truth. As the universal in each individual is recognized, so will it become universal. Thus the whole which is behind the individual will be realized by each individual. The universal, individualized, is the Christ, and this must be recognized by the individual. Then the individual will know that the whole is behind him, and behind the whole of humanity, for there is no division. The full realization of this reveals God in man. In God there is no division. There is but one whole expressing itself in the many, and God's consciousness is manifesting in every one of His creations, and every one of His creations exists in His consciousness. God in the midst of thee is mighty. When you begin to understand this, then you will raise your consciousness out of the conditions that surround you and enter into your true birthright, the Christ of God within. The world will then emerge from the limitation of time and space and gain its spiritual freedom. Time and space have always been a hindrance to the understanding of wholeness, the completeness of the infinite. To recognize infinity, there cannot be time or space. Reality had no beginning and will have no ending. Reality is not created by man, but man creates time and space in his own consciousness. This is the illusion, not understanding and realizing wholeness. This is the illusion, not understanding and realizing wholeness where there is no time, no space, no beginning, no ending. There is but one whole, and this whole is expressing itself now. This is reality. I am one with reality. Reality and I are one. This is the recognition of the Christ consciousness wherein all is possible. Look beyond the personality. It is but the outer manifestation. You cannot find truth outside yourselves. You must look beyond the personal self and the personalities around you. You can never find truth in personality. Personality is the result of the individual's reactions to conditions. Ideas and concepts held in the consciousness are being expressed through the personality. But this is not reality. Reality is complete and perfect in itself, and it expresses itself in purity, in perfection. This is the Christ of God. Then look beyond the personality. I know you love the brother who I am using as a means to transmit my thoughts to you, and some of you think he is affected when the power becomes too great for his body to stand. But I tell you truly, we love him as much as you do, and will see it no harm comes nigh him, so be at peace and know that all is well. Some of you find also that the power becomes too great for you, too strong for your bodies, and you feel as if you are leaving your bodies. Now the way to prevent this is not to struggle for the body, and then the feeling will disappear, and you will be perfectly conscious of my presence. I am giving you this advice now, because I know how difficult it is for some of you to hold yourselves in the body when the power becomes too strong. My spiritual power can do you no harm. At the present time, you are surrounded by a tremendous force of spiritual beings who are amongst you and come from all planes of consciousness. These beings are just like yourselves, the only difference being that they manifest in a higher vibration. They bring a tremendous force with them. They come here to listen, and their love surrounds you also. I know the difficulties some of you have when the emotions are strong. These vibrations create a vibration in your emotional body, and through the emotional body they affect the physical body, and consequently you feel the effect. But nothing can harm you here or anywhere else, for I am with you always. The Spirit of God is personified as the Christ of God in you. Then to realize yourself one with the Christ is the way of truth. To realize yourselves with Christ, not only you in the physical plane, but also you who have passed beyond the physical plane, it is also necessary for you too to recognize and realize yourselves one with the Christ. In that recognition, then, you find the salvation and the power and the glory of the infinite Spirit, which is individualized as the Christ of God in you. When you gaze upon your inner vision, you bring forth into your individual life. There is no secret in this. It has been told by all the prophets, yet few could realize it, because they looked outside themselves for the answer. Many are doing the same today. The masses are looking outside for the answer. But you are learning not to look outside yourself for the answer. Only within yourself can you find the answer. I am the life. Become one with all. A great brotherhood divinely united one to another in God. This is the way I lead you. Although this is a reality, now it must be established in the individual consciousness to make it a reality to the individual. What you are conscious of now in your life is being expressed in your outer. That is why the unfoldment of the Spirit creates an expansion of the consciousness. And as your consciousness envelops all, through development it grasps the greater understanding of the truth of the whole. As the consciousness of God holds you, so must you hold the consciousness of God that is within you, for you are one. Idols are mere gold and silver made by hands of man, with mouths, but they never speak, with eyes, but they cannot see, with ears, but they cannot hear, and no breath of life in them. The ignorant worship the things that do not live, while the wise live in God. Even if an idol is held as a symbol, the consciousness must be aware that what is behind the symbol. To ignorantly worship an idol is useless, but to live in the Father and to know that He lives in you is true worship. Therefore we know what we do worship, while the masses do not know what they worship. Therefore I say to you, worship God in spirit and in reality, for God is spirit and the only living being there is. I and the Father are one. But I tell you, worship no one on earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. He is the living breath in you, the Christ of God individualized in you. The Christ is the love of God in all mankind. I am the love of God. To know this love, you must adore Him who is love. And how do you adore that which is love? By reaching up to the highest within yourselves, by giving out the love that is flowing to you from Him who created you. Become aware of this overflowing river of life and love that streams through your soul. When you give expression to that stream of life and love that enters into your own soul and heart, then you will truly feel the love of God. For to love all is to love God. God loves all, for all is His creation. And that is why I say, love your neighbors as yourself. I am joyful in those who carry the tidings of peace and goodwill towards all men. I am silently working in the hearts of all who listen unto me. Turn ye from without and learn of the only one who dwells within. In your quietness, there I am dwelling in your consciousness. In your heart, urging you to listen to me. The rhythm of love, of peace, of harmony in your soul is the rhythm of the eternal love of God animating the whole of humanity. I am one with the Father, and I am not divided in any of you, but one with Him in whom you live and have your being. Therefore in Him I am whole, in you and in all I am the same. With my peace, my love, I bless all. I will open the door so that the great river of infinite life will flow out and flood all nations. For the vision of Daniel is being enacted in your midst. It is not my purpose to reveal the vision of Daniel in these talks to you, but when you read Daniel, you will come to know what I mean. It is the vision of the things to come, the vision and purpose of the great architect of the universe, who created all planets and suns in the universe and everything that exists therein and thereon. Each planet is controlled and directed by a spirit, just as the Christ controls this world. So does the great ether spirit control the various ether planets in this universe. These spirits are known to us. We understand them. We commune with them because there is no space, no time, no distance. Each planet has its own various degrees of influence upon the earth, all ordained by the great architect of the universe. Daniel's vision is an understanding of the wavelength of the expression of these solar angels working for the unfoldment and upliftment of this earth and all that dwells thereon. The end shall be peace and love. This message I bring to you. Truly I tell you that God has ordained that the end shall be peace, love, and goodwill between all souls. There is perpetual healing wherever this river flows. Then open yourself up to it, so that it flows through you to all creatures, and there shall also be abundance. For wherever this stream flows, so does it make alive all creatures, and there also shall be abundance. This water flows from the sanctuary of God and is food and drink for all souls. Little are you aware of the magnificent work that you are doing in the sanctuary. Some of you may think that you have just come here by chance, but there is no such thing as chance in regard to these things. I have told you before that you did not choose me. It is I who chose you. He who is weak in understanding faith, assist him by being consistent in your own reasoning. What I mean by understanding faith is, there is a faith without understanding. That is like a house that is built upon sand. The winds and the rains come and beat upon it, and it is swept away. True faith is based upon the rock of understanding. This understanding faith is the truth. It is like the house that is built upon the rock. The winds and the rain beat upon it, and it stands against all that assails it. This is the understanding faith that I want you to have and to give to those who come to you to drink. Give him to drink that which will make him never to thirst any more. Give him the spring of living water rising up to eternal life. Do not lose yourselves in the external or be caught up with sayings. Keep your mind on the eternal. This is the sure way to reason. Many will beset you with many words. Many will come to you with sayings, perhaps some of which I have already said. Yet not understanding the meaning of the words, they will put a different construction upon them. But if you hold your mind on the eternal, then that is the sure way to understand me. Do not try to remember my sayings or repeat them in parrot fashion. That is of little value to you, or to any who come to you. The word will be given unto you at that very hour. This is the well that never runs dry, and when you drink of it, you shall never thirst any more. Every individual who realizes the Christ has won a victory for the whole race. I advise you to pray often and love much, and thank the Father for your glorious opportunity here and now. Place yourself in his hands, so that he may do what he pleases with you. As a baby lies in the arms of its mother, feel also that you are in the arms of the ever-eternal loving Father, and allow him to do what he pleases with you. Then there shall be no more struggle, and the power of God will be in your mind and heart. Your hand will be strong, your mind will be alert. This is the power of the Christ that is with you always. Then he will embrace you with his love, and you will eat at his table, and serving you with his own hands, he will give you the key of his treasure. He will converse and delight himself with you incessantly in thousands of ways, and he will treat you as his favorite. In this way you will consider yourself at all times in his holy presence. Of this I know so well. It is the living power of God that dwells in you, and you can have this living power now. Recognize it and adore it and dwell in the holy presence of the Father, recognizing His greatness, His love, His power, because all is His, and what is His is yours also. Even the most wretched of men, full of corruption, men who may have committed all sorts of crimes against Him, have only to abandon themselves to His mercy, confessing all their wickedness and asking divine forgiveness. My Father will spread before them His bounties and give them a seat at His table without rebuke. For all who come to the Father through the living Christ of God and recognize Him, He will in no wise cast out. Think then of the blessings that have been bestowed upon you. Immediately you recognize and realize the living Christ in you. You have immediately come into the presence of the Father. You will immediately begin to express the love of God, and at that very moment you will be made as white as the driven snow. This is the peace I bring to you. The mind is no longer caught up in the net of fear of hell, neither is your mind caught up in the fear of evil, because the Christ is the victor, who has been given dominion over all things. All power has been given unto me in heaven and on earth. In silent communion in the sanctuary, rest in the knowledge that His love and healing are pouring through you, and that this river of infinite life is covering the whole earth. The covenant was carried by the tribes of Israel as the inner sanctuary, a symbol of the inner soul, the dwelling place of the Most High. It was into the sanctuary that the Israelites entered to speak with God. Yet the real sanctuary is within yourself, within your own heart. There you can speak with God. In your heart comes the healing and the love of God. What you are doing now is going on all over the world. You will not really understand until you have left the physical, and then you will see what you have done for your brothers and sisters while on earth. You will hear these words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Each time you realize this, you will find a change of growing within you, an ever-increasing sense of responsibility toward your fellows, expressing health, happiness, and an abundant life. Your body is the garment of the Spirit, the temple of the living God, and you are learning that Spirit is the ruler. Do not be afraid of any condition that may assail you from without. No condition or circumstance, no matter what it may be, can affect the Christ in you. The Christ is adamant, is all power there is, being the Son of God. The Christ is not affected by conditions external to the self. The Christ is the Spirit of God in you. The Spirit is all power and can overcome all conditions. Through suffering you gain experience and learn of the Christ, and even if you die in suffering, the Christ in you shall live joyously and will be your eternal reality. The darkness that surrounds you is the kindly evil that unfolds the Christ in you. As the seed is planted in the kindly darkness of the earth, the life in the seed unites with the life in the earth, waiting to reproduce it. The life in the seed grows out of the darkness to express itself in the image and likeness of the seed sown. So does the Spirit of God. The Christ is the seed that is in you, and shall grow out of the darkness that surrounds you. The beauty of the Christ shall manifest in you as the image and likeness of the Father. I am He who liveth, who died, and now liveth forever. Do not be discouraged if immediate results are not forthcoming. Work is being done in accordance with your thought. This law is infallible. The darkness that seems to cover your consciousness will prove friendly, for the Christ is working in you, and failure is impossible. The body of humanity will become the beautiful garment of the Spirit of God. I shall come again to tell you that salvation is not in part, but with the whole. And for this I am working in your midst. The signs are in the sky heralding the New Jerusalem. All movements in the heavens are thoughts expressed by the Absolute. You are His thoughts also, and you must therefore manifest His love and healing. Perhaps you have misunderstood the true meaning of the thought. Thought is not a mental concept or an image, though these find their avenue through the mind. Thought is a direct expression of the thinker and is never separate from the thinker. It is the creative process behind all form and expression. When you have a concept in your mind, you are dwelling upon the concept. You are looking upon something external to yourself. Reality is behind the thought. Real thinking is when thought is not influenced by the external. This is the true expression of the thinker. My healing thought goes out to you and accomplishes its mission. All worlds with their countless forms in nature are thoughts expressed by the infinite in the infinite. Love is the power behind all his creations, no matter how you may view them from without. His nature invested in them is moving towards the central reservoir of love where all exists. When you understand the whole of nature, you will see the manifestation of the Spirit of God, the manifestation of the Spirit in the mineral, the vegetable, the animal, and the human. The Christ consciousness is the recognition of the wholeness of spirit, the consciousness of man in God, aware of itself. I am the Son of God. No man is my Father on earth, one only is my Father who is in heaven. As all rivulets move towards the sea, so do all forms move towards the unknowable sea of love out of which all originate. The universal and the individual are one. In the individual realizing this lies the wellspring of growth in which the infinite life in the individual evolves the individual. And immediately you become aware of this, your own spiritual evolution begins. The Christ is the completed man in God and God in man. He is the finished product. All the mighty power of God is expressed through him. All power has been invested in him in heaven and on earth. He is complete in himself. He is the Son of the Father, carrying with him all the Father's attributes. So the life in the Father has been invested in the Son, and the Son gives expression to that life. He is the only one, the Father within his own creation. Although self-existent, yet never separated from his creation, indivisible in nature, yet whole and substantial in the many. In looking at things through your senses, things that you can touch and feel, you say that they are real, but they are only the shadow of reality. Reality is that which is within, the invisible. The substantial is the inner, the outer is the shadow. So much trouble has come upon the earth because of the ignorance of the truth. When the truth is realized by all, then all shall look upon the Spirit, because Spirit is reality. While the outer is but the manifestation of the inner, for without the inner, the outer does not exist. In realizing the meaning of these words, I am the life, first of all, you must know that God is life and life is God. Then in the expression of I am the life, you know what you are saying. You understand the meaning of the saying, I am the life. I am the life. These words are true and when understood have tremendous power in their expression. I am the life, centered in God, sending out rays of love, healing, and intelligence through all. This intelligence is active. It is never static. It is always expressing the will of the Father. If the consciousness is unaware of this, it is lost in the things of the external, and this becomes the illusion in the mind that does not understand. Then the consciousness will express these illusions to the sorrow of the individual. But if, knowing the Spirit and understanding the power of the Spirit, the will of the Father shall be manifested, this is the Christ, the manifestation of the love and wisdom and power of God, bringing all into the one fold, and there shall be one shepherd. Those of you who commune with me will feel my presence, for I am not apart from you. I and the Father are one with you. Yes, and when you do call upon me, I will not fail you. All that is good for you will come to you through me. The great enemy is a sense of separation, making separation a reality in the mind of man. Through centuries of ignorance, men and women have dared to think of themselves as complete and separate entities, looking on the suffering of humanity as something outside of themselves. There is no separation. What affects one must affect the whole. That is the way of the Christ of God. He is the salvation of the race. Yes, I feel the suffering with the whole of humanity, yet I will lift this suffering from you, if you will but listen to me. My way is the way of salvation. My way is the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God. My way is life, not death. Are you looking on God from afar off? If so, then you live in the separation of the senses, looking outside yourself for reality. Are you looking for God afar off? Answer this question to yourself and think about it. I have come to reveal that I am not separate from you, but one with you, and this is your salvation. The law of God is working out even to the smallest detail through your earthly life. The earth holds within it the great interior, invisible spiritual force, creative and reconstructive, expressing itself in form. This great spiritual force is individualized in you as the Christ in you, expressing the infinite life in all its glory and power. With love the central factor, for the dominion of power is in love, for God is love and love is God. As I taught my disciples of the mysteries in secret, so I do the same to you. Those who believe in me are my disciples now. Those who fail to do so lose the great reward resulting from the recognition of the Christ, the only begotten Son of the Father. All creation is the thought of the One, the Father breathing through mineral, vegetable, animal, and human. The consciousness, when aware of itself, realizes that it is. And whatever the consciousness is aware of, so does it manifest. This is an immutable law of life. The consciousness must become aware of itself as the expression of the consciousness of God. As the Father has life in himself, so he granted the Son to have the same life in himself. The Father is consciousness of the universe and all that is in it. His consciousness is the creative principle in the universe. So is his consciousness established in the Son of Man. The Father knoweth the Son, and the Son knoweth the Father. The Christ is the Son of God, and you are my brothers and sisters. Life alone has consciousness. I am the life. Do not in your mind give life form and then say that form is the reality. Life creates form, yet it is independent of form. Do not by mental process limit this life to the reasoning of the mind, thus closing the avenue to the whole that is beyond your mind. Do not confine life to the forms which you see before you. Life is invisible, yet substantial, and is omnipresent. The form is the expression of life. The forms you see before you are but the expression of the whole of invisible life, because the whole is never divided. One day you will learn more about these things. You will see the invisible as a visible world. Yes, forms of life greater than you at present realize. Yes, even the angels of God, invisible to you at present, will be visible. Yet beyond this is the life eternal. Life is beyond form, so do not limit life by the form you see, form being the expression of life. Do not limit life through the reasoning of the mind, thereby closing out the whole that is beyond your mind. Truth is not a part of truth. The whole truth is not seen or heard. Your unfoldment will still continue in the higher state. There is but one truth. I am the truth, yet no one conceives the all of truth. I am in the whole of humanity. Within me, you are one in all and all in one. This is ever expanding into the whole of truth, the Father of love. The Spirit of God is personified as the Christ of God in you. My peace, my love, I leave with you. Let us enter into the sanctuary. My peace, my love, I leave with you. So be it.